All right, Gemini. So this week from Lay Vampire, you pulled natural. Authenticity or authentic, real, and organic. And then from Chakra Wisdom, you pulled workaholic. Now, when you're looking at natural, it immediately talks about how those things are not what defines you, and which is funny because I just went through this with Taurus. Now, natural. The blessing says, when you take away the trappings of money, power, status in the world, you are left with the things of spirit, and you are rich in the ways of the soul indeed. This creates a balanced, centered, strong core. And then working with this card says that there has been an over-reliance on ways of identifying who you are. Whether you have categorized yourself by a job, your appearance, personality, or wealth and background, it is time to go beyond this to who you truly are and know yourself from the inside out. But when you're looking at that with workaholic, for some of you, it's needing to work. You have to work, right? We have to work to survive. We got to pay the bills. But, are you letting your life pass you by? Or are you avoiding issues through working all the time? Again, these things don't define who you are. Unfortunately, we live in a reality where the ego is about survival. But you don't want to be, working to the point of burnout, though, either. The very first quote for this says, while I worked, my life happened. Now, the inspiration says, are you wanting to complete your career before you live your life? Busy work may be helping you to hide from the real issues. The personal question says, am I working too much and suffering from burnout? Is there something important that I'm avoiding doing? And then the key ideas are feelings of inadequacy, transformation indicated, not being fulfilled by work, heeding warnings, and refreshing your mind to improve your work. So basically needing to take a break from working so damn much. But again, we have to survive, right? We have to pay the bills, but that doesn't define who you are. All right, Gemini, here we go. Here's the energy coming through. The Three of Pentacles. Work, 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 work. Like I can hear Rihanna in my head going, work, 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 right? The Three of Pentacles. At least it's not the Eight. Now, for some of you, this is having to do with work. For some of you, it's a new position here. For others of you, you're working and showing off your abilities and you're being recognized for it, which is great. I like the Three of Pentacles, but I like it better when it moves into the Eight in terms of, where you're headed. But for a lot of you, it could just be a new job. It could be going back to school or, choosing what you're going to do here. But either way, again, with the Three of Pentacles, you're being recognized for your own talents. That and the Six of Wands is where the recognition starts to play in here. But work, damn it, work. And the past. The King of Wands, or the King of Staves. Now, typically when we look at, especially in terms of work and finances, when we look at, the wand energy as far as the court cards, the King and the Queen, you can be talking about a boss, or this is somebody that you're working with, looking at the Three of Pentacles, because again, it does talk about the group, right? Working with someone toward a common goal. Now, for some of you, this is going to have to do with another person, which I feel more so than any energy that is surrounding you, other than, having confidence in what you're doing. But there's a difference. When you're looking at the Three of Pentacles, you're paying attention to details. The King of Wands does not do that, But this could be somebody that you're working with, whether it's just, work, or you're talking about a family relationship, or you're talking about, a romantic relationship. But I do feel like this is somebody else coming through. And you're looking at fire. But what I worry about with the King of Wands is commitment. Commitment. In the present, the Five of Staves or the Five of Wands, you're talking about competition. And it's mild conflict. It's, a bunch of ideas being thrown around, but nobody really being heard. And I've always said when it comes to the Five of Wands, you can step up here and get control of the situation. It's minor, it's not the Five of Swords, which is great. But I'm looking at, difficulties as far as, what is happening in terms of work just between the three. That King of Wands could literally be competition coming through. That, or there are, arguments that are happening because people aren't being heard. when you're looking at the Five of Wands. And again, it's what you're working toward. It has to do with what you are working toward, looking at the Three of Pentacles. Yeah. No. Ugh. Now, I have my issues with the Page of Swords because, here's the difference. When you're looking at it in terms of a messenger, you want to compare it to, the Page of Wands. Those are the things you want to hear. This are, the Page of Swords is all the things that you don't want to hear. This is the stuff that you don't want to deal with, right? But in terms of, the energy that you're going to be dealing with, it's basically saying that you're going to have to, think logically about what is happening, especially with the conflict. And then not only that, but if you're dealing with people who are saying things that aren't exactly true, though, either, and just creating more conflict, you want to be careful about, how much you let that affect what you're trying to work toward, looking at the Three of Pentacles. But ugh, I hate that damn Page of Swords. It bothers me more so than, looking at like the 7 or even the 3 for that matter, because I always question the truth when it comes to that page. It's asking you to act with truth and integrity, basically, despite the conflict that may be going around surrounding a person. That, or literally somebody is gossiping about somebody else and you're hearing about it. Ugh. Your best path to follow, the Ten of Swords. For crying out loud, Gemini, what is happening here? When you're looking at the Ten of Swords, this is saying that a situation that, is not good for you is over with. But are you hanging on to it? Is this something that you're having difficulty letting go of? Because, remember, it is the ending of pain, right? It leads back into clarity. But then the other thing, too, though, is, things don't have to end that way. I kind of feel like that too. Like things don't need to end in that kind of a way though either. I don't necessarily feel like you're creating endings that don't need to be there. But, for some of you, it's literally needing to end any kind of conflict that's surrounding, what you're working toward here with the Three of Pentacles. It's that damn Page of Swords, it'd be different if it would have been something else. But it's like the conflict is made even worse by some of the things that are being said, though, too. And I do think that this is a situation that doesn't need to end badly. Like, that may be where it's headed, and this may be a warning here. On the other hand, whatever painful endings you've been through, those are the things that you have to release and accept, right? My brother always told me that, it's only 60 minutes before the light comes back, right? When you're in your darkest hour. The clarity is right around the corner. It's just, do things have to end that way, though? In your environment, yeah, I'm telling you. Oh, for crying out loud. The Page of Staves or the Page of Wands, again, these are like the good messages, the exciting things, the things that you want to hear. But when you're looking at it in connection to the Five of Wands and then looking at the Page of Swords, somebody's blowing smoke up your ass. I mean, that's literally it, Now, for those of you who are dealing with difficult situations in terms of work, it could be, good news as far as like getting away from these situations, though, too. Oh, boy. But the communication that's happening is like almost mixed. And again, the Five of Wands, right? It's creating conflict. Ooh, your hopes and your fears, the Seven of Swords. What the hell? All right, Gemini. Yeah, and it makes sense to me. Being worried about deception, especially if you have somebody who is telling you what you want to hear, but then turning around and then you end up hearing the things that you don't want to hear, looking at the Page of Swords. I don't like the Seven of Swords in connection to what's happening here. I still don't think that things need to end in a painful way. I just think that, the conflict definitely needs to be over with. There needs to be truth and honesty. And there's a question there, especially with the two pages being there, but both of them, surrounded by conflict, And the other thing, too, is when you're looking at the King of Wands as a past coming through, beyond being a fire sign here, again, going back to commitment and having commitment issues. It's almost like getting mixed messages from somebody on, whether or not, they're committed to working toward what it is ultimately that you're wanting to do here, looking at the Three of Pentacles. Now, again, when you're looking at it in terms of work, you're just dealing with a lot of backstabbing people and a story. I just worry about, the mixed messages that are being sent out, Oh, wow. Man, talking about things needing to end, death. So death coming out of this situation is saying that it's definitely over with. And again, the Ten of Swords, it's over. It's over. But does it need to end painfully? Which I can understand why that's there, but then at the same time, you can't stay stuck with that kind of ending though either. Every time I see the Ten of Swords, I think of somebody who is having difficulty in letting go of the painful things. It's almost like, are you choosing to continue to stay in conflict because you feel like something can be worked out? You know what I mean? Especially if you're getting mixed messages here. But with death coming out over this, with the sun being there, I feel like you're being drained out of the situation. Okay, so now first of all, when we're looking at the clarifiers for death and we're talking about the ending of something, I've always said with death, you can either go through this kicking or screaming, or you can accept it. Either way, it's happening. You don't have a choice when death shows up. It is the ending of an era. It is the beginning of something new. But, to me, it's something that should have ended, and now it's finally going to end. The conflict's going to be over with. But when you're looking at the clarifiers here, it's like, you need to be careful here. Pick your battles, right? When you're looking at the Five of Swords, yeah, the conflict is ridiculous, right? Now, with the Tower, to me, I don't feel like this is anything shocking to you. I just feel like, now is the time for you to make abrupt changes. Like, the shit needs to be cleared out for good, but then with the sun being here, yeah, the sun is there. It's great. You're going to be okay. But then at the same time, I still worry about you being a little bit drained. When the sun shows up, you're supposed to be revitalized and rejuvenated, right? But when you're dealing with this kind of conflict, especially with the energy of the Tower sitting there with death, come on. That's difficult. Anybody would be physically drained from something like this, But again, right? Like, pick your battles. Don't get involved in any more bullshit. It should have been over with a long time ago. Now it's finally coming to a close. No matter who you're dealing with here, I feel like, for some of you, if this is somebody that, you're hoping to work with toward, and ultimately a common goal, right? Looking at the Three of Pentacles, whether it's work or relationship, I feel like, they're telling you what you want to hear, but everything is just surrounded in conflict. And I think that a lot of you are fearing, deception that may be going on, which would explain why the Ten of Swords is sitting here, but then ultimately looking at death coming out. Damn it, Gemini. You're supposed to have good stuff going on, right? And then, the other problem, though, too, is you want to be true to who you are, looking at natural. But the other thing is you don't want to avoid any issues either with workaholic, Trust, resilience, and gratitude. Basically, to me, looking at trust and resilience, right? Like, I've always said this when it comes to Gemini. Like, you guys can bounce back from anything. You're not one of those signs that stays stuck with conflict. Like, you bounce back from it. It's not a problem. Trust the fact that you can bounce back from this, right? But then gratitude. Be grateful that, the bullshit's over. It doesn't need to end in a really painful way, though. I still feel like that looking at the Ten of Swords. It doesn't need to be that painful. But, gratitude, right? Being grateful for everything. That's what brings in more of the good stuff. But trust the fact that you'll be able to bounce back from whatever you're dealing with here, no matter how difficult the conflict. But again, you don't want to get caught up in any more. I mean, again, looking at the Five of Swords, right? Pick your battles, pick your battles. All right, guys, we're going to take a look at the romance angels to see what messages there are in terms of relationships for you guys. And then this could be the one. You've already met the romantic partner you seek. Now, for some of you, it's wanting to move quickly within a relationship, looking at engagement. For some of you, literally could be getting engaged. In that case, congratulations, right? And you're with the one. Now, on the other hand, it may be you or the other person here looking at engagement that is wanting to move things a little bit quickly. I don't know. Like I looking at the reading, I would say, hold up, just hold on a minute, right? But for a lot of you, looking at this could be the one, basically you've already met who you were supposed to meet. This just may be outside bullshit that's going on. You may be dealing with conflict from another source here, though, in terms of a relationship. But, either way, the question then becomes, do you continue to put in the effort here with the Three of Pentacles? But, ultimately, the situation's going to be over with. I mean, with death, yes. It's done. It's done. The Tower, to me, I don't feel like this is anything that's shocking to you at all. I just think that, you know that now is the time to start making the changes that you need to make. But, all right, Gemini. And again, general messages, not going to apply to everybody. But I do, very much see resilience as something that's associated with Gemini. Your ability to bounce back from difficult issues is insane. Where some people would stay forever stuck with it. No, not for Gemini.